So what is going on, everybody? So I've done this video on my gaming channel talking about my history when it comes to gaming, and I figured, you know what, man, I'm gonna do it for this channel. I'm gonna do it for the entertainment channel. I tried to do gaming on this channel before. It didn't work out. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people, did unsubscribe because I was doing gaming on this channel. But I want to talk about how I got introduced to playing video games and everything of that nature. So I would say the first thing for me had to be the Nintendo, which is known as the Nintendo Classic. It was a big gray box with a black stripe, and you had square controllers. And we had something called game cartridges back in the day, where you had to blow into it, you had to put it in the system, press it, and you had to press power. And one of the top games for me back in the day that I was introduced to was high-speed pinball. The next game was an alien shooter game for the Nintendo. Now, as I got older, the next thing that was presented to me through gaming was an arcade machine. I would say the first one was at a laundromat. For those that don't know, back in the day, if you were going to a laundromat, we didn't have cellular phones back then, so we couldn't hop on our phones. We couldn't leave the laundromat either. People were known to steal people's clothes in the laundromat. But in order to pass time, you had the TV, but that ain't nothing. No, we had some arcade machines and actual pinball machines that people played to pass the time. Yes, played to pass the time. I would say the first, or at least the second game system for me that I remember playing was the Sega Genesis. And back then, you just couldn't go to the store and buy a Sega. Back then, systems cost a lot of money, just like today. But I think back then they would be considered more cheaper now than the systems today. But, you had a lot of people that just couldn't afford to go out and get a system. So back then, you could go to two places. You could go to your local video rental store and you could rent out a game system and a game. Or you could go to the gas station and rent out a game system or a game as well. And you would do that because you would save money by doing that. And when you had enough money, you would go and buy the game system. My uncle, who passed away last year, before he passed away and everything, the only thing I really got from him is a Sega that he gave me. Yes, this is his Sega Genesis. And I remember going to the rental store with Mom so much. We would rent games, and back then, after a certain amount of time passed, video rental stores will have sidewalk sales when it comes to games and movies. And I guess they had a sale, and I was in school at the time. I come back from school, I didn't really have any games to look forward to play on the Sega. So I would always have to wait until paydays when we were able to go to the game store, to the video store to rent games. Mom, she managed to get some money and go down to the video rental store because they had a sale, and she bought me a lot of Sega Genesis games. So much that I still have till this day. And even a lot more that I didn't have. Yes, so I still have all my Sega games, and there are so many classics on there. To name a few, there was Mickey Mouse and Pluto. There was Toy Story, Spider-Man, Batman '89, X-Men, Sonic Pinball, Sonic. There's still a lot, and again, I still have a lot of my games for the Sega. I still have my Sega 2 packed away. The next system introduced was the PS1, the PlayStation 1. And again, go down to your local video shop and was able to rent the PS1 back in the day. And maybe like one game. Because, video game disc gaming on a CD, right? Like it was new and it was a bit more expensive. For people wondering, how were the Sega games? They were cartridge games, probably no more bigger than this phone at the most. You would have to blow into it, of course, and press it down. But yeah, they were cartridge games. And I had, I think, 3 PS1s at the end. The first PS1, I think, was a Christmas gift or a birthday gift from my mother. My second PS1 came from my uncle who passed away, and the controllers that were given to me, they were considered, bootleg controllers. That came from my brother-in-law. And my third PS1 came from a friend who was shot, unfortunately. Never saw him after that. But, I don't have those anymore. I kicked myself in the ass because I at least would want to have 2 of them. One that came from my uncle and one that came from my friend, and also the controllers that came from my brother-in-law. I ended up selling those. At the time, I needed the money. I got like $30 for them. And now I kick myself in the ass. Like, I know a lot of people man, you can go and buy one online. Yeah, but you know what? It's not going to replace the sentimental value, though. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to replace that sentimental value, because I know what happened to 2 people that gave me theirs as gifts. I do, so it can't replace that. But I remember, buying some games for the PS1. Some games were given to me. I think the first game that I owned, the first couple of games that I owned, one of them was X-Men Children of the Atom. Nobody would think that game would be worth nothing, but it was so fun. Well, now, so many years later, it's now worth $5,000. Or it's worth $3,000 as well. $5,000 in packaging, mint condition, $3,000 on CD. Yeah. And then, back then, they used to release demo discs for games that would come out, and you would be able to play the demos of them. I had 2 of those. And I also had Dexter's Laboratory. Unfortunately, those ended up getting destroyed during a pipe burst downstairs, which pissed me off. I do now have a lot more PS1 games now, than I did then. One of them I did manage to keep throughout the years. I can't pronounce the name of it, but it stopped working, so I rebought it. But yeah, I have a lot more PS1 games. I say, some of the most earlier ones, Uh, Still got my first one that I bought. That didn't get destroyed. Man. Ridge Racer 4, Spider-Man, Space Jam, Batman Beyond, Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3, 4 as well. Batman and Robin. And I think the very first game, when I first got my very first PS1, because back then, when you bought game systems, it came with one game inside. So when Mom bought me the game system, it came with one game. That was Pin Tin Bowling. Yes, I still have that. So, back then, the graphics were definitely considered advanced for their time. And then the PS2 came out. Wow, the PS2. I remember getting that for my birthday. I didn't have to worry about renting it. I got the fat version. It didn't work, unfortunately, so I had to get it sent back and had to get another one in. The first game that I had for that, it was Yu-Gi-Oh! Not a very good game, but, it was Yu-Gi-Oh! Nonetheless. Some of your classics on there, boy, I still have a good majority of my PS2 games till this day. 50 Cent Bulletproof, Batman of Vengeance, Catwoman, Gun, Red Dead Revolver, GTA San Andreas, GTA Vice City, Scarface, Star Wars, Episode 3, Star Wars The Force Unleashed, Dragon Ball Z. Quite a few, man. Quite a few. Defender. Just to name a few. In between the PS1 and in between the PS2, I was introduced to computer gaming, online gaming, as it were. Now, you had your Army Space arcade games for the PC that came on floppy disk. You had Need for Speed Underground 1, where you could actually race against other people back in the earlier days. But I say the majority of online gaming, and you didn't play against other people, no, which was a couple of game websites back in the day. I forget the names of them now, but they had some really cool games, and I say the best one, because I remember the earlier days. Gotta remember, I'm 31, so I've been around longer than Cartoon Network. But the earlier days of the Cartoon Network website, it didn't have that very many games. The first game it had on there that I played was from ChEDDErTarY. Yes. Early days of that website, it was a small display screen. The border of it was gray. The background color was yellow. And it just had news updates, maybe a couple little videos that could play, and a couple of games. But as time went on, we got so many great games on that website. Justice League, Dexter. You have Ed and Eddie, Dragon Ball Z, Gundam. You had so many games for that system back then. or no, for Cartoon Network back then, that it was crazy. Samurai Jack, oh man, so many great Cartoon Network games are unfortunately no longer around anymore. I have so many great memories of that website. You were even able to watch the I can't even get the words out because I'm so excited thinking about it. The intros to a lot of the Cartoon Network shows on there back when there was Wave Player. Yes, Wave Player had to be connected, and you also had to have Flash Player back in the day as well to play the games online on Cartoon Network, and even watch some of the cartoon, intro videos through Wave Player. Yes, that yeah, that's my memory for PC and online gaming. And the first time actually playing against people online was through the Pirates of the Caribbean game online. I think that came out after the third or second movie, which was fun. I played that. And as time went on, you were introduced to the Xbox 360. Yes. Xbox 360, I think I ended up getting that Tax. I think birthday or Tax. I can't remember. But sadly, that system didn't age well for 15, 16 years. I still got all of my 360 games. And I can tell you that the value for the 360 is only $12. I am thinking about getting another one just to have it packed up. Yeah, I know. Pack it up. Because it's such a really, to me, man, the system had a lot of good memories. A lot of good games. So many classics to name on there. It was the first system that I was introduced playing against other people on. It was the first system that I ever saw Netflix on. I don't even know where to begin with that system. Like, I really just do not know where to begin with it. That's, wow. Just some really awesome memories with it. And then, of course, what leads to now, which is the PS4. It's hard to say what the value is to the PS4 right now, and it's hard to say how much it's going to be worth if you were to sell it after 10 years. Because it's only 5 years old. But the PS4 didn't really have that many classic games, in my opinion. The games I got for it, I think, are considered classics. But I think only time could tell. That's the first system to really introduce YouTube for me. First system where you could stream live, choose backgrounds. The first system where you didn't have to have a memory card. Yeah. So, that's pretty much, my history. When it comes to gaming and the memories that I have with it. But with that being said, I'm out. Peace.